Welcome to another episode of the Dear Souls podcast. I have the profound honor of introducing a man whose strength, courage, and unwavering spirit inspired everyone who knows him. Living with ALS, he navigates each day with incredible resilience and determination. Although ALS has taken his ability to speak, it has not taken his voice. For his story continues to echo in the hearts of those who witness his journey. Today, with the help of his close friend Kimberly, who serves as his voice in communication, we're deeply grateful to share this extraordinary path with you. Welcome to the show, Dylan and Kimberly.
What an honor. This is just so special. I already have goosebumps covering my body. So it's really sweet. The three of us to be together, and an honor for me to try as best I can to speak for Dylan.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here with you guys as well. So today I wanted to share a bit about Dylan's journey. And, as Dylan embarked on his quest to understand the nature of reality through studies in physics and mathematics at Lewis and Clark College, where he also excelled in football on an academic scholarship. After 9/11, uncertain about his path, he embarked on a hitchhiking adventure down the Baja Peninsula with a friend, leading to an unexpected 5-month stay on a surfing beach in Mexico. Oh my goodness. That must have been so amazing.
What's cool? I'm going to interrupt you for a second.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
The friend he met on that just emailed me last week. They've lost touch. And then for some reason, Dylan popped up in a conversation and they were like, what's Dylan up to? They did some Googling. They found his book and have been just profoundly moved by his current story and reached out. And I was like, this is so crazy.
Oh my goodness. That is so amazing and beautiful. I got goosebumps. That's so cool. Oh, thank you for sharing that. That's really, really great. Now, it was during this time that he decided to pursue a career in the healing arts. His journey took him to pursue a dual doctorate degrees in naturopathic and classical Chinese medicine at NUNM. A chance encounter with Aikido in Japan redirected his focus, and for nearly 5 years, Dylan became a dedicated student of these martial arts. Upon returning home, he began his medical studies and established his own Aikido dojo, aligning his career with his passion for patient care. Let me see. And in 2018, Dylan faced an unexpected and profound challenge when he was diagnosed with ALS. Despite the progressive nature of the disease, he continued his studies with remarkable resilience and the support of his community. His unwavering determination resulted in the award of honorary doctorate degrees in naturopathic and Chinese medicine in 2019, a testament to his dedication and the impact he has made on those around him. Today, Dylan has channeled his energy into writing about his journey with ALS, sharing insights into resilience, gratitude, and the human spirit. His life's work continues to inspire others, demonstrating that even in the face of adversity, new doors of understanding and opportunities can open. This episode, not just about the challenges he has faced, but also the profound love, friendship, and the unbreakable human spirit that radiates through it all. Join us as we explore a journey of courage, grace, and in the face of adversity. This has been so amazing. Thank you. So Dylan, I have a few questions for you, and thank you for being here again. And question number 1 is, did your journey through ALS change the way that you view life? Yes. So basically, Dylan will be answering yes if he's looking directly at the camera. That means yes. And if he looks away from the camera, it means no. So this is how he will be able to communicate with these questions. Now, on question number 2, have you found peace in writing about your experience with ALS? Awesome.
That was a yes and a smile.
I know. I got a beautiful smile. Thank you. Did your time studying Aikido in Japan have a lasting impact on your approach to life? Thank you. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Was your stay in Mexico a turning point in deciding your life path? Nice.
They're all yeses.
That's all yeses. I love it. Did you ever doubt your ability to continue your studies after being diagnosed with ALS?
Yeah, that looks like a yes.
Good. Yeah. Did your experience with ALS influence your spiritual beliefs or practices?
No.
That looks
It's because it was already
okay.
evolved before it came in.
No. Oh boy. And now, was establishing your own Aikido dojo a significant milestone in your life? I think that was a yes too.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Now, do you believe the support of your community has played a crucial role in your resilience? I feel definitely. Nice. Has your outlook on life become more focused on the present since your diagnosis? I think that's a yes too.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for answering those questions, Dylan.
Oh, what fun.
Now,
I'm so glad that you asked those.
yeah. I don't know if I sent you those. I think I just came up with those now with
No,
his
I think that's
caregiver.
really,
Yeah.
really great idea, Jacqueline. Thank you.
Well, it was actually his care. I think what's his name? Kyle.
Hello,
I don't remember.
Kyle.
Kyle, thank you for giving me that little insight, because he was the one that told me that answering yes or no questions will be great. So thank you. Now, Kimberly, do you want to go ahead and play the audio for chapter 17?
Yes. So this came about, I'll give you a little background.
Okay.
Dylan and I met when I was doing a documentary film on individuals living with chronic illness, and this started in 2019. And then the pandemic hit. And so we ended up having lots of recordings from the individuals over 2.5 years, but they were recording themselves. Or in Dylan's case, I would call him and his computer generated device would read it for me. And at that time he was writing a lot. So this particular question I was asking, the subject was, would you give up everything that you've learned since your chronic illness in order to be fully cured? So this is Dylan's answer.
What would you give up? Would I give up my experiences and lessons from living with ALS to walk again, to talk again, to sing and dance again? Would I give up my experiences with ALS to be able to breathe on my own again, and to not have to live with a tube in my throat? Would I give up my experiences with ALS to eat food again, to taste and smell again? Would I give up my experiences with ALS to fulfill my dream of being a doctor in my own clinic, teaching Aikido, having children? Of course I would. How could you not want to regain so much functioning, so many aspects of my former life, and only have to give away some intangible lessons? Although what part of me is answering that? The one that measures everything in terms of gains and losses is not my higher aspects. It is my ego, or small self. For why would I stop at giving up just ALS experiences? Why not also the abuse from my father? Why would I stop there? At a certain point I would have stripped away the experiences that have come to define me, that have shaped me into the person that I am. If I answer the question from my higher self, I recognize that the hardships of my life and the challenges of living with ALS are indispensable to shaping me into who I am. From this perspective, these experiences and lessons are the cornerstones of my spiritual growth. The purpose of life is a lofty question, but I believe it is to grow into a more harmonious being of spirit and matter, to evolve as a soul to greater depths of love and truth, fully awakening our consciousness to the purest radiant reality. These hardships also provide huge opportunities for this type of growth, as if equivalent to the challenge is the hidden potential for spiritual growth. The lotus only grows in the mud, a diamond is only made under incredible pressure, and there is no rainbow without the rain. These are hard truths and hard lessons, but I have faith that they bear fruit. I'm on the highway to Buddhahood. I can choose my destination in life, but to a large extent, not the pace. For me, my destination is spiritual awakening. I could have crossed paths with an enlightened teacher, but for now I have the school of hard knocks, life challenges that intensify my experience to pressurize my transformation in the crock pot of my life. I don't believe that manifestations are random. As Einstein said, God doesn't play dice. If one believes in a higher power, use whatever name, the truth is the same, that all phenomena arise from the same source. I don't get to decide this manifestation is divine but not another. Faith is all or nothing. There is only the one. It's our mind's judgment and dichotomies of good and bad that leads us astray by thinking we know better. It was the forbidden fruit in the Garden of Eden after all. That said, if there was a cure for ALS tomorrow that I could take going forward with all I have learned and experienced, I would. I'm not sadistic. Otherwise, I would be fighting against my reality, fighting against myself, by letting a desire to undo this ALS experience consume me. It has its place and I keep it there. More and more if I can reside in my higher self, ALS is not my enemy, it's my ally. So the original question answers itself. I recognize that a part of me will always say, yes, I will trade these lessons and experiences of ALS to regain my functioning. That voice is not all of me. Humans are multi-layered complex beings. Some of our most inspiring aspects come from our hidden and intangible elements, like our experiences and spiritual growth. Spirit is of the unseen, infused into all the physical world. The intangible experiences and lessons of our life nurture the kernel of our soul to grow and blossom. From that perspective, the original question could be, would I give up my soul to not have this disease? Of course not.
Wow.
Isn't that just the most profound, beautiful chapter?
Yes.
I mean,
It's just beautiful. I gotta sit with that for a moment because just taking it in. Thank you so much, Dylan. I'm deeply honored and grateful to you for sharing this chapter. And, I am, wow. Your willingness to open up about your personal journey and profound insights provides such a rare glimpse into the strength and resilience of the human spirit. Through your words, I was reminded of the power of vulnerability and the courage it takes to face life's greatest challenges with grace. And I want to say thank you, Dylan. Thank you for sharing this, because a lot of us sometimes forget. We forget that how precious and beautiful life is. We take it for granted. And I want to say from my part, I'm so honored and grateful that you came into my life, and your book has inspired me. And I've been on a journey for the past few weeks because I wanted this interview to be so perfect and beautiful. And I was in my head. And I remember one evening sitting in my balcony, I had to connect to my higher self, and the words were spoken to me, and they said, nothing is perfect in life, and you're the creator, like God's source universe. You are a creator, and you can create whatever interview you want, however you want it. There's not one way to do something. And that gave me such a peace inside of me, because I just know that God has our backs, and all this, this beautiful interview is going to be amazing. So thank you. Thank you, because you helped me get back to my center. I had a great lesson in that. I appreciate it. Now, Kimberly, do you want to share a little bit about your experience with Dylan?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I just want to go back to, what that chapter was so much that spoke to me. I really love how Dylan reframes ALS as his ally. And so much of us look at adversity in life as an obstacle. And I think this is such a rare opportunity for us to see in extreme circumstances someone who is choosing to see the hardship as an ally. And the reason why I think Dylan is able to do that is because his life's goal, as he said, was to be awakened. And so why wouldn't you treat everything that walks into your path as Buddha or as a lesson? And so it's easy for us all to read the books and say yes, but Dylan has gone the full marathon, not the mile, the marathon, and said, no, I'm not saying, I don't think this has always been easy for Dylan, but I met him, like I said, in 2019, and this was already after he had lost his voice. And so I only know Dylan through what he's written, and the evolution of ALS. The diagnosis for him was actually in 2018. And I think there was a year prior to that where there were, some discrepancies around the diagnosis and all of that. Okay. So this is a short period of time for Dylan to first receive the news and then digest the news and then go through all the stages of grieving with it to largely, when I met him already in 2019, felt like he was already on this path of like, well, what am I going to learn from this? So I feel like the journey for him, and I just want to read something because I know that for him, the path, or in Chinese medicine, we call it the Tao, that is something that has always been part of him, even prior to the ALS diagnosis. And I just want to read a little paragraph of something he wrote about this that I think is really beautiful. Okay. As I said, I am on a path. In Chinese, it is called the Tao, the way. I believe the purpose of this all is to learn how to be more loving humans. It is simple. Through countless lives, we continue this spiritual evolution that drives our physical evolution, growing closer to the ideal of love, emulating the masters, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and the many more, following their guidance to advance on the path as they love or as they have. That is what is most important to me, to learn how to grow into a more loving human being. It has become clear to me that some of our deepest lessons come through hardships. Pain on all levels sharpens this attention as one potential explanation. I would not wish on anyone what I have been through. At the same time, I have learned so much about myself through my experiences that it's hard to imagine how I could have otherwise. We can all embrace our struggles because within them, we can find a lotus in the mud, a lesson to light our growth. It is critical to remember to look for it, to see past the pain to the potential for the experience to help you in some way. It is a way to see the world around us. It's always trying to help us, even when it hurts. And to me that, I think of in our very limited expression of love and through media and movies and all of that, we have this version of love that's like people connecting and romance, and Dylan's talking about love that transcends all of that, and that isn't about getting what you want or anything. It's not about getting anything that you want other than the most ultimate truth. And for Dylan, that is to awaken and to grow himself into this ultimate goal, which is to be a loving human being. And using these experiences of ALS it's a teaching for all of eternity. This is not a lesson that's like, oh, great, 2024. This is the lesson of Dylan. This is the lesson for since the beginning of mankind to the end.
To the end. To infinity and beyond. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Kimberly. So I guess we could go into some of the questions, and I will go in order, but I will skip the first one. So number 2 will become actually number 1. Okay. So Dylan, how has your perspective on life shifted since your ALS diagnosis? And what are some of the most important lessons you've learned along the way?
So again, I'm speaking for Dylan. And if I just completely blow this up, Dylan, just, say no and keep your eyes over there. But a lot of this I'm actually going to read from what he's written for the book.
Okay.
So, but I think first and foremost, the perspective has not shifted a lot. I mean, I think Dylan already was on, like he said, the highway to Buddhahood before. So that's quite interesting that ALS has facilitated and accelerated the journey, but it hasn't shifted it. And so some of the most important lessons, I think, for him, of course, acceptance and grace, to receive the twists of life that come unexpectedly, but accepting what they are. And through that acceptance, finding a peace and a strength, even in the hardest of days. And I think another big part, and this came about in one of the questions I had on, like, the question was, who was I before my diagnosis and who am I now? And a lot of who we identify ourselves with is by our achievements, what we can achieve or produce. And so, and even Dylan was that prior to the diagnosis. And he's really had to unravel that and see the value of his life through his capacity to love and connect deeply with others and find meaning in his own life. And so that's a huge shift from our achievement oriented paradigm in this world. And another thing I think that's really been important for Dylan that I heard him speak about is just cultivating gratitude for the beauty that surrounds him. There's abundance of beauty. I remember him even talking about the leaves outside the window and feeling himself as the tree, and the flowers in the vase on the table, and the shared laugh with friends, and all of these small moments which helped him feel the meaning and the beauty of his own life. And those are just tiny snippets. There is so much that I feel like have been important lessons. But those are some that rose to the top for me right now.
That's beautiful. And I want to add a little bit of that, what I got from that. Was that in the book, he talked about like going out in the forest and like, he would disappear and he would leave for hours, and then you would climb the tree and all these things. And, you took me on a journey, because as a kid, I was the same way. I was such a free spirit, like a little hippie little girl, just wanting to be barefooted and just run around, climb every tree I can. And, you just took me down such a beautiful path of remembering my own self, because as life goes, we forget about our childhood, especially the good stuff. You know what I mean? We forget that wild child or that fearless kid, or you forget so many things. And what I want to say, Dylan, is you literally opened up that part of myself that had been closed up for so long, and through my own healing journey, I've learned to awaken so many things, and you actually were a big part of opening that part up for me, of me being able to say, you know what, I want to be a kid again. I want to enjoy life. I want to be grateful for everything and just in love with everything, because I know what it feels like to lose passion for life, to lose passion for everything, and through my own experience in this journey, I've learned to just be so grateful for everything. It doesn't matter the good or the bad. No, there's no good or bad. There's just experiences from what I've learned. We have amazing experiences in our lives, and we just got to learn from them. So thank you again for for that part of the book because I just loved it so much.
Well, I love the picture of Dylan at the opening of the book where he's the little guy, I think maybe 8 or 9. The Doug firs that he was climbing, those are huge. I mean, those are like 100 feet tall.
Oh,
Can you
wow.
imagine Dylan's mom and looking out the window and seeing him swaying from the top of that tree?
I could only imagine. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And another one that I just wanted to touch up really quickly was Morningstar. I'm a doggy lover and I have my fur babies up there, and I love animals so much, and I just wanted to at least mention Morningstar for just a little brief second. I know that baby was such a big part of your life, and thank you for sharing that as well, because they are our best friends. They are that true love. Really, they are our true love. They make us really understand what love is. So thank you for that, Dylan.
I love that.
Yeah.
Tragedy and power in that part of his chapter.
Do you know a little bit about Morningstar's journey with Dylan that you want to share?
I don't know a lot to speak about it other than what he shared in the book in the conflict that he had with his father. I'll just leave it at that because I know that.
Let's leave it at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We just know that was his pal, his buddy.
His buddy.
Perfect. We'll leave it there. Now, question number 2, Dylan. You've mentioned the importance of staying active despite physical limitations. What activities or therapies have made a difference in your daily life?
Yeah, so this is cool because I think, again, it goes back to Dylan's former life where he was already practicing Aikido, meditation, Qigong, and really endeavoring to awaken. And so some of that began with Vipassana meditation. And that was sort of his first exposure to equanimity, sort of what you were just speaking about earlier, where there's no good or bad. There's just this balance between the two. And for us to achieve a state of equanimity is to sort of harmonize those two poles between craving and repulsion. And his journey with ALS has, of course, been a constant practice to achieve that equanimity. So that's been a huge part. Another part that I know that, and I haven't experienced this with him, but through NUNM, there was a Qigong part of that program. And one of the professors, Tamara, who's actually quoted a lot in the book, became a very close friend of Dylan's, friend and colleague, and continues to visit him, and they practice Qigong together. And now you might be scratching your head going, how does he practice Qigong? Because we all know that Qigong involves these movements.
Yep.
But for Dylan, he's taking it again to the next level, and he uses these Qigong practices to move energy in his body. And so I experienced, this was a while ago, but I went and visited Dylan with a little calendula salve that I'd been making, and I was going to rub his feet because I know he likes to have massage. And for those that don't know, with ALS, you can't move your body, but you can still feel everything. Dylan loves massage. And so I went to give him a foot rub, and I'm thinking in my head, what are his feet going to feel like? Because these are feet that haven't touched the earth in 5 years and haven't walked through the room. And these are arms that haven't reached out. And I was kind of expecting him to feel like cold stone, Nope. Dylan, it felt like he had just finished like a flow state jog through the redwoods. Like there was so much energy pouring out of him, warmth and energy. And I think part of that's Dylan, but then also I think part of that, it might be some of these practices of moving meditations and moving the energy throughout his body. So that's a pretty cool practice that he's been able to do, has been able to stay, quote unquote, stay active.
No, that's beautiful. Yeah, no, I totally understand because I do Shingon and, Reiki and, I do different things to keep my body from not hurting because I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia 8 years ago. So that's been a constant battle with the pain. So I, could relate a little bit, not to that extent, but a little bit. And I've noticed like when I stop for like a week or two, depending on what I got going on, if I stop like the Shinkan practice or the yoga or anything, my body starts going back to that pain again, to getting like, closed up. And I'm just like, oh, Jesus, like I got to keep on this journey. So I can just imagine, because a lot of these teachings, you could visualize, you could just use your visualization to keep on with the practice. So to me, it's really not weird to understand that he could stay active, because I could totally get it, I could totally understand that it's all visual, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Now, question number 3, Dylan. Living with ALS can present unique challenges. How do you maintain your mental and emotional well-being while navigating those challenges?
So this one's hard for me to answer. I hope I answered that right. I'm going to guess one of them for sure, because when I visited you, Dylan, a number of times, being outside is still huge. Being amongst the trees, being under the sun, the space that he shares with a couple other tracheostomy patients, they all have their individual rooms. And I've walked past the other rooms and they're dark and there's a TV going and it just feels empty. Yeah. Dylan's room has this, I think it's a west facing wall of windows, plants that are like so alive. It's like a greenhouse. There's Beautiful. Always sunlight. There's always a feeling of peace and joy in there. And when he's not in there, they take him out to the back porch where all these Doug firs are around him. And so I think, first of all, there's just a recognition of how valuable the being connected to our beautiful earth is. And I know trees have been such an essential part of Dylan's life. And so I don't think he's said, well, I'm going to give that up now that I'm immobile. I think he's just requested that the trees come to him.
Yeah.
So, and so then another more in the philosophical, that's kind of more practical, but on the philosophical, I think, of course, maintaining a sense of optimism for a while, and maybe even still, is sort of this hope of finding a cure and believing that's a possibility. But for him, the difference is that his relationship to the disease process changed with time so that he could make peace with it, even if the cure didn't come.
Right.
Like they didn't negate one or the other. So he says, I have made my peace with it while I live with it and pray for a miracle. So both can exist. And I think some people don't recognize that both can exist simultaneously, that somehow you have to make peace or pray for a miracle. But I think for Dylan, that maintains a sense of optimism. And let me read something, that I have here that also talks about sort of the objective for writing the book, which maintained a sense of well-being and connecting him to the larger world, and giving him a sense of purpose, which is huge. So he wrote that in writing the book specifically, he hoped to illuminate the transformative power of acceptance and inner peace in the face of physical decline. Through his personal journey, he aims to challenge social stigmas surrounding disability, inspire empathy, provoke thoughtful reflection on the meaning of life and the value of human dignity. And by sharing these philosophical insights and experience with equanimity, he endeavors to offer solace and guidance to readers navigating their own challenges. So knowing that his life is an example, I think, is one of the greatest ways, or how all of our lives can be an example, is one of the greatest ways we can cope when things feel hard. Like, how is my life a map, a roadmap for someone else that hasn't yet come to this place?
Right.
And absolutely, Dylan's life is a roadmap for many. Yeah.
I'm sure. Now, Dylan, you've spoken about the significance of relationships and friendships in your journey. How have these connections supported you, and what advice will you give to others about fostering meaningful relationships?
I love his words on this. We did an episode called Sex, Love, and the Chronic Toll. Little play on sex, love, and rock and roll.
I love it.
And his wisdom just shined in it. And I love that he talked about the intimacy that he can still experience with the people in his life, and how he, quote unquote, reaches out with his feelings. So he may not be able to reach out with his arms and embrace, but there is that energetic. Again, you said you practice Reiki, and there's Qigong. There's energy, it's cultivation of energy that I feel like has just become Dylan's language in a way, and probably way more refined than any of us walking around the planet have. So he can reach out with his feelings. And this is just such a beautiful thing that he shared. If we look deep enough, we'll see that we are all dependent on each other to survive, whether that is due to someone else growing your food, building your home, raising you, or providing you with an education, transportation, and protection. Even the most self-sufficient person on the planet is dependent on plant life to breathe and eat. Similarly, for being so dependent on so many people, mostly I am alone. Or am I? If intimacy is our loving embrace with our heart of the other, can I not always be in an intimate state of mind with the divine? I am not talking about some man in the clouds, but of all existence, the other. Rumi's poetry exemplifies this most beautifully with their use of the beloved. That, for me, is the highest form of intimacy, extending to all of creation, all of life, and all of our brothers and sisters of humanity. To hold the whole world with love, that is impartial intimacy. So relationships have taken on a whole nother level. And I can speak to his circle of humans because we interviewed a lot of them for the book.
Yes.
He has profound relationships with individuals that are just, they're so cool. And many of them came from his medical training years. Some of them came from before, and boy, did they love him. I mean, it was just so cool. And so a lot of that cultivation of those relationships happened before ALS, but it clearly laid a foundation for those relationships to continue to be meaningful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And the support has been amazing from what I was able to gather in the book. I mean, it's just incredible. The amount of people, the community, like the love. And I mean, why not? You know, you're such a beautiful human being. You have such an amazing heart. I mean, I could just feel your energy. I could feel you right here. And wow, I don't think I've ever really experienced such a beautiful soul in my life. And I've come across amazing people, but the energy, the love, just what you radiate it's just peace. It's knowing. It's just a connection that is very rare. You know, it's very rare. So it's beautiful, Dylan. It's like if I was right there right now, I'd just hug you and kiss you all over.
Well, how about a plan?
Smiling at me. Oh, man. But thank you for that. Oh, that was so beautiful. Yeah. I'm really trying not to cry here. I want to smile and laugh and just,
Oh my
yeah.
God. Absolutely.
Now, Dylan, question number 5. ALS has impacted your ability to speak, yet your story still reaches many. How have you found ways to communicate and continue sharing your journey with others?
Well, this one's just a pure promo for his book.
Yeah, exactly. Right here.
There are so many thoughts, so much wisdom, pre and post ALS. And so this book is such a treasure. There are poems even in here that, oh my gosh, poems and photos. He's communicating through words, but words have energy. So yes, this is a book and these are words that you will read, but like you just shared, when you read it, you will feel Dylan. And
yeah, definitely.
So I feel like this is one of the ways. Now, this is where I wish Dylan could speak, because he's going to be like, actually, there's lots of ways I've learned to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And
telepathically.
So those are ones that, I can't answer, but I bet you if he could, he would say he's learned other ways to communicate as well. Along with even what I said previously around the intimacy, reaching out with his feelings.
Yeah.
I think understanding the power of energy, even in Aikido, and my limited understanding of Aikido, it is all about moving energy and relating that energy with your opponent / dancer and understanding that this is a invisible form of communication.
Yeah. And we could still see him saying yes to us when he's looking straight at us, and no when he's looking away. So we could still communicate, and just close your eyes and you could feel him. You could just feel everything. Yeah.
One of the things you just reminded me, I did know Dylan before the tracheostomy and before the muscles in his face started to die. And so one of the things he wrote about was the sort of insecurity around losing his ability to smile. And especially when you can't speak, smiling is such a way to communicate.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a profound chapter in the book around that question of what it's going to be like to communicate without a smile. And yet there's still tiny bit of muscle still.
I see a big old smile. Here, I see a big smile. So yeah. I could see it. Yeah. It's beautiful. And I love it. Thank you. Now, question number 6, Dylan. What role has advocacy played in your life since your diagnosis? And are there any specific causes or organizations that you are passionate about supporting?
So the top number one is the restoration of our forests. I think if Dylan could have gone on and gotten a triple doctorate, it would have been in some sort of climate change scientist or a philosopher that values the practical planting of trees and growing of our forests. And so even has gone as far as to 100% of the proceeds of this book go to American forests. So beautiful. I mean, that's an incredibly generous act. And so that doesn't even have anything to do with chronic illness. That has something to do with the planet that we all share, and the belief that his words and sharing what he's done in his life will somehow go back to planting trees. And it will, and it is.
It will. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I'll make sure to put that also, a little part of that when I put the video up, and also when I do the promoting of it, on my Facebook community and other places. I'll make sure that they know that 100% of the proceeds go to the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think that's a huge thing. Yeah. Yeah. I'm all for that. We need it. We need to take care of of nature, of everything, because yeah.
And one of the other things that I'm just sort of connecting the dots here, but I do think that end of life care and sort of legal autonomy is important for Dylan.
Okay.
The term that he's used, it's called locked out, and he wants to have agency around his choice to leave this plane before he's locked out, meaning he wouldn't be able to even communicate yes or no. And so I know that this is a huge controversial topic in our country, but I believe that he is living his advocacy around the right for humans to choose when they exit this world. And so we need clearer policies that ensure that individuals and their families are first informed about it, but then also that they are able to do it with grace and ease and without having legal things intervene. So I think that's a huge part of his story. And I know that his family is very involved in that process. And I'll say this was 2 years ago, Dylan, that you texted me and said, I've got 6 months left. What am I going to do with this time? And I was like, 6 months. And I know you wanted 6 months because Dune was coming out in December, and you wanted to make sure that you were out alive for the premiere of Dune. And so then we got to talking about the book project, and then that spiraled into this creation of this book. Fast forward 2 years later, well, actually even a year later, Dylan's like, I'm still here.
Yay.
And then, and then there was like, okay, well, how long are you going to still be here? And he said, well, I want to be still here for Dune 2 to come out. So then it became Dune 2. And now there's clearly some slowing down of the visual processes, and the less and less writing, very much more yes or no. And so the time is getting shorter and shorter. And so I would imagine it's quite up for him and his family right now around when that decision needs to happen.
I get goosebumps because I read about that in the book, and I agree with you, Dylan. I think that we should choose what we want and how we want to, go to the other, life, get out of here and go somewhere else and enjoy our next journey. I don't think that, anything legal or anybody should interfere in that. I think that's something that you could decide, and you have, because from what I've gathered from you, from the book, you are a human being that likes to have everything planned out, and you make sure that everything's good, and you know what you want, and you know when, and thanks to to the dunes that kept you here a little bit longer, because 2 years ago I wasn't doing the podcast. The podcast started in March, and I don't think I would have ever had the pleasure of working here with you and meeting you and just connecting with you in such a beautiful level. You know what I mean? So again, I'm so grateful that you decided to stick around, in this planet for a little bit longer, because, it's just been so amazing and inspiring to have met you here. And, I think when you're ready, and and we're here for you. And, I would love to know about it beforehand if possible, so I can, help, with the process from my end, and energetically and spiritually. I would love that, just because I feel so connected to you right now, and I love you.
Just a quick heads up, I'm going to give him a quick section. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. Expected that might be happening at some point. So
yeah, he's done really good. Hang on one sec.
Yes. So Dylan will be right back, guys. Kimberly, this has been already so amazing, and I could have not imagined how this was going to go.
It's going so beautifully.
No idea.
You were just carrying it with angel wings. Your presence is so lovely, and I feel that you're holding Dylan in such a beautiful space. So Deep breath. You're doing beautifully.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm so grateful for you in this process too, because it hasn't been.
It's a wild thing. I've never done anything like this before.
Oh, just you being here. Thank you. You're holding the space for me too. For all of us. Jesus. Yeah. You're doing so amazing too. This interview is going so beautifully.
It really
now, you know, there's a few more questions. I'll wait for him to come back on, and then maybe we'll read a poem and then go from there and see what else comes
and
up.
I'll tell you one of the questions, it starts with, your story is a testament to resilience and determination. I basically took exactly that, and that's how I started when you asked me, want to share something about Dylan. So you can eliminate that question, because I pretty much addressed all of that already.
So what question is that one?
Your story is a testament to resilience and determination. How do you continue to set goals for yourself?
Okay, so
what motivates you to keep pushing forward? I read that pretty much.
Yeah, we did that one already. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Dylan. Now, next question. What advice do you have for individuals and families facing a life-changing diagnosis, especially when it comes to finding hope and strength in difficult times?
Yeah. Boy. Well, I would say, looking at the title of Dylan's book, it's called Liberation of Being, the subtitle is Allowing Terminal Illness to Teach Us How to Live. That title kind of says it all. Which basically suggests the philosophical and spiritual journey of illness and what illness can provide.
Right.
That comes from embracing life fully despite the presence of illness. And I think he would encourage these families and patients to confront their mortality with courage and grace, and really seek meaning, and to find their own unique purpose within that experience. And that might be different for everyone. It might not be the same as Dylan's purpose. I think it's essential to sort of find what their purpose is and then make that their goal. and then have the family rally around that. Because I think his story really forces us to re-examine our values and priorities and perspectives, and so when we look at our purpose, it might be very different all of a sudden. So this isn't like something you're just going to know right away, but I think he would say, do some deep reflecting and find out how your values and priorities have changed, and then ultimately let those move you towards more of a profound understanding of what it means to live authentically. Yeah.
I saw a big smile.
Good.
I think he likes it. He approves. Right, Dylan? You approve? Good. Oh, that's beautiful. Now, Dylan, next question. Finally, what legacy do you hope to leave behind, both personally and in terms of raising awareness for ALS and other challenges you faced?
Yeah, this is such a great question. I mean, legacy, it's such a huge word, but it's not something that's unattainable for anybody. I think a legacy can happen in a moment of kindness or generosity. For Dylan, it's clear that he seeks to illuminate the transformative power of acceptance and inner peace in the face of profound decline. And so through his journey, this challenging of the stigmas around disability and inspiring empathy and provoking thoughtful reflection on the meaning of life and the value of human dignity, all these things are parts of his legacy. And by sharing all of this with the profound equanimity that he has, which is just like through his practice, these aren't words for Dylan. This is lived. I mean, they are words, but they are lived. And so I think his legacy is that it's possible. It's possible. We don't just pick up the book and go, wow, great, that sounds lovely. We pick it up the book and we go, this is possible in the most dire of circumstances.
Yeah.
And I think there's some solace and guidance that he leaves behind because of that, and urging us all to embrace our uncertainties with a little bit more grace.
Yeah.
And ultimately, making the world more compassionate and resilient and celebratory of life's beauty.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. I'm going to go into the book, and I'm going to start with picking one of my favorite poems. And I'll read it. Hopefully I will do good here. So it's My Happy Place. That's my first one. So this poem is called My Happy Place. Lying at the foot of the giants, cushioned with a bed of moss below, covered above by the elders of ancient days, touring up towards the light, there's a gentle breeze, a soft rustling of leaves and branches all around, the peaceful sound of a forest, content gazing up at the ceiling of branches swaying in the wind. The deer off in the distance doesn't even catch my eye. There are no demons, no external expectations, no one to impress or let down, no fear of failure, nor desire to be the best. It's just the sounds of the forest with me in the center, grateful to be listening to God's symphony. That is beautiful. That is
Dylan,
beautiful.
Did you remind me, did you write that poem before ALS? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So that was before. I was trying to remember if it was a reimagining of that space or if it was written in the space.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just such a beautiful.
It is. It's beautiful because when I was reading that poem, and I love poems, and I've always loved them since I was young, and I got away from it. And then I started coming back to it as I started my spiritual journey last year. Well, it started a few years ago, but really, really integrated it last year. And this poem right here, it's what I do now on a daily basis, what I've been doing. Like, I live in the mountains. I am surrounded by nature and deers, and I just saw a little possum today in my garbage and it was just hanging out there. It was just there, like, oh, I'm in heaven inside the garbage, and it's just the beauty of nature and the forest and the energies and the birds singing and just all of it. It's so beautiful. So when I read this poem, it was like I was transferred into that space again, even though I'm here in the mountains, but it's like you just transfer in there. And it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. So it's one of my favorites. I mean, you have tons of them, guys. He's got tons of poems in here. If you love poems, there's so many that he wrote. Beautiful.
Can I share one that I love?
Yes, please.
It's called The Atemporal World. Now, remind me, I think you wrote this one after ALS, correct? Yes. Okay. So this was after.
Okay.
This is page 243. Oh, my favorite number, 43. There it is.
Our favorite number.
Forgiveness lies in the eyes of the beholder. Disappointment is a direct result of expectations. In action and rest, the divine art of purpose. Habits are the forms that hold us. For when the time comes for surrender, who upon do we lean? Living a lie is dying each day. Sure, all life is dying, but the rate of decay is a choice of way. Remember that there is no adventure without the unknown. My story has no end in the atemporal world.
That's beautiful.
I mean, that's you, Dylan. That poem is you. That's your life.
100%. From what I've been able to gather in this book. Yeah. I could see that. Maybe I could do another one, and then you could do one more, and then, yeah. The Looking Glass. That's my other favorite one. Now, Dylan, did you write this one during ALS or before?
Oh, you got to ask one question.
Oh,
Otherwise,
did you write this book before ALS?
No.
No, okay, so it was during. Perfect. The Looking Glass. Every chance encounter, every random idea, every dreaming image, every life lesson. All synchronicity, all creativity, all phenomena, every felt sensation, every physical symptom, every mental pattern, every weather pattern. Is the unconscious seeking to be conscious, the present continual revelation, habitual intuition, the shadows on the walls longing to reveal their origin. It's the alchemical evolution of metals to be gold, a drop of the ocean held on the wind, momentarily glimpsing its source before its reemergence, until we fully embrace the divinity of our true name. Can the giver of names ever be whole?
The giver of names.
The giver of names. I love that. I have never heard that before.
No, that's so
beautiful, Dylan. So beautiful.
I just had the thought, I want to do something.
Sure.
Give me a moment to find it if I can.
Sure.
Because I was looking through here and I just came across, you probably saw Dylan's cousin. This would be such a sweet way to end it. His cousin is a songwriter, and he wrote this incredible song called Evergreen Man. And he basically, I'm not going to read all the lyrics, but he basically said in the chorus, an evergreen man, a life on the move, Superman, you got nothing more to prove. You traveled the world and you left behind your love. You still gave a life's worth and then some, even though you're bounded from above. And I just think, oh,
I love it. That's beautiful.
It is just the sweetest song. And I'm worried that I have so many freaking files here. Give me a second.
It's okay. Don't worry.
If I can even find it. So here are the interviews. Let's see, because it is such a beautiful song.
Go for it. I think I might want to read one more poem.
Yep, go for it.
After the song. Actually, I'll do it while you're looking for that.
Okay, perfect.
Let me see. Trinity of tones. There is only space. I am the space. I am aware. But I'm not there. Everywhere is the sound. A repeating series of 3 rising tones of escalating intensity. I am the sound. Like a string is part of the cosmic orchestra. The sound is uncontainable. Do you fear? Don't worry, you are not there. Being not there, are you lonely? Don't worry, there is the sound and the trinity of tones. Let it in as you are able.
This is turning into more like almost like a sacred sermon. I feel like I don't go to church, but I'm like, it feels like I'm in a temple or something.
Yes,
I think I found it. I found the file and it says Evergreen Man piano. So I'm going to start it, and I hope it's not just piano, which I don't think, but here we go.
Never walked the beaten path, but the light was always shining on you. And every choice you had to make was from a loving point of view. And like a bird across the sky, you used the wind to guide your way. A normal man can't keep a smile, but you did every single day. evergreen man, a life on the moon. Superman, you got nothing more to prove. You traveled the world and you left behind your love, and you still gave a life's worth and then some, even though you bounded from above. There's not a tree you haven't climbed, a river's bridge you haven't built, and every flower has its time, but you're a rose that just won't wilt. And as a boy you roamed around, so fearless and free. A rising tide can lift all boats, and you're the motion of the sea. An evergreen man, a life on the move. Superman, you got nothing more to prove. You traveled the world and you left behind your love, and you still gave a life's worth and then some, even though you were bounded from above. When the going gets too tough and your body starts to fail, and when you haven't got the strength and your illness prevails, well, you can take a look around and notice what you see. That you're an angel to most and the hero to me. Evergreen man, a life on the move. Superman, you got nothing more to prove. You traveled the world and you left behind your love, and you still gave a life's worth and then some, even though you were bounded from above. Yeah, you still gave a life's worth and then some, even though you were bounded from above.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I could see your smile. I could see energy tears coming out of your eyes, Dylan. Of happiness and joy and
just so beautiful to be seen. And I feel that Dylan, you are seen, and not by just us, but by so many. We see you. And this song, the perfect title, Evergreen Man. My husband uses the term evergreen and branding, and it's just something that lives forever.
Yeah.
And you are evergreen and you will live forever and have touched so many lives.
Yeah. We love you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Such an honor. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Dylan, for being here. And Dylan, where can people find your book?
Amazon. It's all on Amazon. And actually what's really cool, and it's going to come out in a little bit, you can do the Kindle, you can do the hardcover, you can do the paperback, but one of his very best friends, Zach, is also reading the book and doing an audio version for him. And
beautiful.
He's, working with a professional right now, and they're going to get the whole thing done. And so you can also, if you're into listening to books, you will also be able to hear one of Dylan's best friends reading it, which is so cool.
That's beautiful. That's awesome. Oh, you're so blessed,
if you
baby.
want to also go back and look at some of the work that Dylan did before he wasn't able to type anymore, lifebreath.net is his former website, and a lot of his poetry is on there and some of his mission for sustainability and helping the forests. So that's all there too.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been such an inspiring and heartfelt podcast. I love all my podcasts, but this is by far the best, my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
And this is going to be, something that I will never forget ever. Thank you so much, Dylan and Kimberly, for being here. And as we wrap up today's episode of the Dear Souls podcast, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our guests for sharing their insight and experiences. If you found value in our conversation, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this podcast with your friends. Your support helps us to continue bringing inspiring guests to the show, and together we can inspire more souls on their journey to healing and growth. Stay connected with us for more transformative stories and insights. Until then, dear souls, with love and light. Thank you.